When you can actually see your profit for the year in dollars and cents, it gets you more in the notion of selling corn, knowing that I can lock in a $50,000 profit or whatever the profit is. You want to lock it in. If I know I can make that much profit in a year, I will be in business next year.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills. Today is the 29th here. We had the export sales report out early this morning, but before we get into that, let's turn over to the Grain Hedge trading platform and see where we closed off the day. Corn trading down 1 cent, soybeans down 2 pennies. Wheat in Chicago adding 2 cents here to the trade. First time we've been up here in a while, and it's good to see a little bit of support here for wheat. Now, let's talk a little bit about that export sales report. We'll start with corn. We had 1.068 million metric tons sold. This was on the high side of analyst expectations, which ranged from between 850,000 metric tons to 1.2 million metric tons. When you look at where we are in terms of meeting USDA expectations, you'll notice that we booked a cumulative 30.34 million metric tons versus what we had last year, which was 32.7. So yes, we are behind where we were last year, but we're ahead of pace, that seasonally adjusted pace that you'd expect for this time of the year in order to meet USDA expectations, which is right around 28.6. So you can see on this chart, the green line represents the pace we would expect to see, and you can really see that that we're finally moving ahead or above that green line and really approaching last year's pace, which is very positive here for corn. I think one of the reasons why we did trade down we traded down most of the day, but we were able to kind of buy back some near the end. And I think one of the reasons why we have a little bit of strength there. Now let's talk a little bit about soybeans here, because what we saw is about 888,000 metric tons sold. This was beating analyst expectations by basically double. Analysts were expecting between 200 to 400,000 metric tons. So this was very big week. You can see that we're well ahead of pace to meet USDA expectations, booking 45.1 million metric tons cumulatively compared to what we had this time last year, which was 42.4. We're right now 93.5% sold or booked here for what the USDA is expecting. So this is very positive here for soybeans. And wheat finally coming in with a pretty good export sales week here. We had 544,000 metric tons. That was above analyst expectations. The high side was 450, so it beat analyst expectations. Keep in mind that we do have a Saudi Arabia tender that came out here this morning. That was for 660,000 metric tons. It's unlikely we're necessarily going to get that, win that, but what it's going to be interesting to see is how these prices come in really all around the globe. So we're going to really get a sense of how competitive we are on the global market. We also had a Tunisian state grain tender here for 117,000 metric tons. We're going to be paying attention very closely to who wins these, what the prices look like, how competitive we are on the global market. And I think that's going to be very important here for wheat going forward. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, give us a call. The number is 877-472-4607. We'll see you here Friday for the weekly wrap-up.